Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ring Ready Live, the home of the owner handler, brought to you by Showsite Magazine. I'm Dan Sayers here with Lee Whittier, the dog show mentor for episode 40. Lee, happy 40th anniversary
Yeah, really.
to our show, a weekly anniversary, that is. But it's always good to see you, and it's always good to see everyone else who joins us here every Wednesday. Welcome back. And as per usual, be sure to let us know who you are, where you're from, let us know your breed. And today we're going to be talking about what happens when people pull their dog show entries. So let us know if you are having trouble finding majors in your breed, or if you've ever experienced having an entry pulled. Maybe you pulled your entry, or maybe an entry was pulled on you, so to speak. So, Lee, I understand that you were busy this weekend. Where'd
Oh
you
my
go? And
gosh.
how was
I
it?
I had the great opportunity of being in Palm Springs.
Mm.
And as you all know, that's one of my very favorite shows. And I modeled my logo after the tents in Palm Springs. So it is near and dear to my heart. It did not let down this time. I was there with a number of dog show mentor owner handlers, and we supported each other and helped each other and took photographs and videos. And it was a great time. So yeah, and I showed my puppy. So that was fun too.
Oh, wonderful. It's wonderful to be in Palm Springs, whether it's for the dog show or for any other reason. But in terms of all breed shows, there's nothing like being outdoors in January on those polo grounds. And I'm happy that you and some of your members had a chance to connect there. And if you were there and you're joining us here today, let us know. Let us know that you were there, and let us know how you did. Lee, you've also got the mastery program going full speed.
Yes.
Do you have an update for those of us who want to know?
Yes, I do. I'm so thrilled that Dog Show Mentor has developed this new high-level year-long program for owner handlers. It's the first of its kind. We had our first master class last night, and we are moving full speed ahead yet one more time. And I'm so proud of the people who stepped forward and said, I'm in. I'm in 100%. I'm 100% owner handled. So thank you to those people because Dog Show Mentor exists just for you. And I also want to say that on the plane back from Palm Springs, I met a most amazing person who had been at the dog shows. And I hope that he's on listening now. So we had a great conversation about dogs and dog shows and what it's like to be sort of new and um, really the kind of things that new people think about.
Yeah.
So he's promised me that he's going to send me lots of questions uh, from new lens of a new dog show owner handler. All
Oh,
right.
that's exciting. Exciting for him to just be starting out his time in the sport, and exciting for you as a mentor to have this new connection with the new exhibitor. That's wonderful. Today, Lee, we're going to be talking about, as I've said, what happens when people pull their dog show entries. So, owner handling can be full of surprises, but things can get really interesting when the competition decides to pull their dog. Majors can get broken when a dog fails to show up in the ring, but the reasons for that no show can be as varied as the reasons why we all show up. So I'd like to start out by listening to you to hear your thoughts on pulled entries. It's a broad topic, but I know that it's a topic that a lot of people have opinions on. So what's your opinion about those entries that get pulled?
Well, it's such an individual decision, but there are some dog show norms, or at least ways that we can work with our own integrity around how we are showing or not showing. For example, Dan, you actually were telling me a story right before we started about a dog that you pulled, and why don't we start with that story because that was pretty interesting.
Okay, so my story is goes back many years, somewhere in the 1990s, and I was showing an Irish Water Spaniel that I did not breed and did not own, but it was brought to me because the people involved with this dog felt that he and I would be a good combination, and in fact we were. We showed it at a supported entry on a Saturday under a breeder judge. And on that day, this dog went winner's dog and best of winners for the major. The major was in dogs. So it was very, very exciting for all of us. And also, I found myself in a conundrum because the following day was also a major, obviously under a different judge. But my dog simply needed another major to win. He just needed, I believe it was 3 points, and he would have finished. But as it happened, the national specialty was a month away. And I believed in this dog so much, and I felt that he had a good chance under our national judge that I wanted him to have the chance to finish at the national, to go winner's dog at the national. And so I had a decision to make. Do I pull him on Sunday, thereby breaking the major, or do I show him with the possibility that he will get the major again and finish? And I decided to pull my dog the following day. I did that because I felt so strongly in my goal for him at the national, but also I felt so strongly about his quality now that I saw the competition that I really thought that he had a very good chance of going winner's dog again the following day. And so, Lee, I did have a conversation with the other exhibitors who were showing class dogs and told them what my thoughts were. And I decided to pull the dog, as I said. The next day, obviously, another dog got the points. It wasn't a major, but it was points, and that exhibitor was quite happy. And the silver lining for this story for me and for the dog I showed is that he did indeed go winner's dog and best of winners at the national in the next month. And so that was a strategy on my part that, looking back, Lee, I wish I could say that I was that smart and it was in fact that I really did strategize, but I have to admit that I felt like at the time I was a little bit younger and greener, and I'd never found myself in that situation, and so I did feel the need to sort of almost ask permission of the other exhibitors.
Mm.
I'm not sure that that was what I was doing, but I was. Um, but my gut told me, hold this dog back for the national. He deserves to win at the national.
Right, and a lot of people find themselves in this position, Dan. A lot of those, a high percentage of those don't actually end up winning at the national. But I think the integrity part here is, so what if those people had said to you, "Well, we don't want you to poll," and you had already decided to poll, but you were going around polling people, and now they really feel bad because, well, why did you bother to ask if you were gonna do it anyway, right?
Exactly.
So it's important to know that if you're decided on something, and which really it's your dog, and you should decide what's right for him. It's your responsibility to decide what's right for your dog. You're not just pulling willy-nilly because, you don't feel like it, or to try to spite someone. You have a reason that you have belief in your dog. And I think that that's a big point here, that when people become angry at other people for pulling, you need to understand that that's their dog, it's their entry, it's their $37. It's there's a lot of sticker shock going on right now with entry fees. And a lot of the bigger shows are really, I've got sticker shock from entering dogs in Orlando, uh, uh, Palm Springs, Portland, Florida. It's been a lot of entry. So if someone pulls their dog, that's their money. It's their dog not being seen. So what if someone uh, pulls an entry because of a change of judge? Well, sometimes there might be a good reason for that you don't know. So for me, I always say, well, go. I mean, unless you have a really good reason not to go, you paid your money, you're there at the shows, go. Go have a good time. Practice if you don't like the judges, practice the best thing that you can. But maybe you do have a good reason. Maybe you have um, a conflict of interest with the judge, for example. Maybe you co-bred a litter 2 years ago and you just don't feel comfortable under that judge. Or maybe you use the stud dog and it was a business transaction and you can't. I mean, there are a lot of different reasons why you might pull your dog. And it's nobody else's business why you're doing that. But at the same time, it's it is considered good form to at least tell people that you're going to be breaking the major. And you don't have to tell them why. I mean, you can if you want to. You just say you have your reasons, and that should be enough for them, right? There's too much people being angry at each other and, oh, she broke the major. She didn't want me to have it. Well, I mean, honestly, I mean, who is that vindictive? And if they are, well, you don't want anything to do with them anyway. You go, you show your dog, and maybe you win the breed from the classes, right? I mean, you could do that. We've got a number of people here. Hey, Lynn, I didn't know that you were in Palm Springs. Oh my gosh. And hi, Rainey. And Julie says she would have done the same thing as Dan. What about the rest of you? What are some of the reasons that you've been known to pull a dog? Or how did you feel when someone else pulled a dog? Did you feel like, well, that's their dog, it's their business? Or were you angry and did you feel a little vindictive toward that person? I mean, sometimes we're only human. We traveled, all the way to California on an airplane or drove 18 hours and then the major breaks. You know what? It happens. And some of the things that I was thinking about was when I was showing dogs back in the 80s and 90s, we had 100 Rottweilers at a lot of shows. I was thinking about which shows. So it would have been the December cluster, Eastern cluster in Boston. It would have been um, and that was 4 shows. And then we would have had the
Cologne.
Thanksgiving cluster. Whoops, Dan left. We would have had the Thanksgiving cluster in Springfield, Massachusetts. We would have had the um, Independence Day cluster in Springfield. We would have had an Easter. I mean, we would have had clusters all year long where we had 100 or more Rottweilers, and you needed 23 bitches for a major. And so you had to win an open class of, say, it was usually 15 open bitches. And then what would happen? Then you'd have to go after moving and moving and moving and down in backs and standing, and maybe sometimes we were standing out in the heat because back then we had a lot of outdoor shows, a lot more than now. So then you'd have to go in the open class, and it'd be like you'd have to do, it would be a dog in every class, and it was, Ambred, bred by,
Novice.
before the 12 to 18 class. And so you're really stuck in, if somebody pulled that one bitch. It was really a big deal. If you won the open class and then you didn't win the points, you felt really like, "Oh my gosh, I want beat all those bitches," and then I
Nothing.
didn't win. I mean, so today we have in what I believe, based on history that I experienced, some cheap champions. And when you have, 4 to 6 bitches in many of the breeds for a major, many of the breeds, that's you could finish pretty quickly. And so you have to ask yourself, so if the major did break, how bad is that really? How much does that really cost you in historically? So those champions that you have 6 generations back in your pedigrees, you got to think about what it took for those dogs to become champions. So Peg says she has her gorgeous Bernese Mountain Dog. It's beautiful here this morning, cold, beautiful. Oh, good. Good, Peg. And Sherry says hello. Aylin, driven to get any competition and end up being the only dog in the ring. I just take it as another opportunity for practice and try to enjoy the new environment. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
As you were talking and sharing the stories about, the early days, let's call them, in your dog show exhibiting life, how you would go to these shows with these enormous entries, but there were far fewer shows. So if you showed a dog, your dog won the open class and then did not go home with the points, um, you had to wait a while for that next show to come along. There wasn't just a show within driving distance every single weekend
Mm-mm.
if you were an owner handler. And of course, who knew when there would be another major with 15 or 23 in a breed to get that major. So and I think it bears stating that people got a little upset back then if they didn't win and if the majors were broken, if somebody pulled their dog. I mean, getting surprised by that is nothing new. That's always happened and that will always continue to happen. But what you've reminded me, and I think all of us, Lee, is how we respond to somebody pulling their dog is entirely up to us. We can get a little peeved and we can start pointing fingers and we can say, oh, this always happens to me. Or we can do what what somebody just said, and I'm sorry who that was, Aylin or Peg, who said that they just take it as an opportunity, and if you show dogs long enough, you're going to drive 12 hours to go to a show. And yes, you are going to find that nobody else in your breed has shown up but you. You,
Oops.
yes, you know,
It's
and
a free ticket to the group. you know?
it is that indeed. And back in the old days, Lee, we didn't have ways of knowing whether people were going to show up or not. I mean, other than a telephone call to say, "Hey, competition, are you showing up?" Which we rarely did. You did just show up and hope that the major would hold. Now, of course, we have lots of ways to sort of be in touch and to kind of understand if there's a possibility that that might happen. But whether it happens or not, it is our reaction to that happening that really matters most. And in my personal story that I shared, I realized now what a big risk I was taking because my dog could have come up lame that next day, or my dog could have just been not up to snuff and could have been easily beaten. It was a risk that I took. And I guess again, as you were talking, I was realizing how young and naive I was back then, and I didn't want people to be mad at me, and so I did go around and ask for permission in a sense. And yeah, you've reminded me and all of us that this is our dog, this is our entry fee, this is our partner, and that is where our focus needs to stay. We shouldn't be distracted by really anything that takes us away from achieving our goals.
Our job is to focus on our dog and make sure that we support his experience in the ring and also support him as the show dog that he is. So I'm I'm curious as to other people's reactions, but truly, I like to say that we respond. When we respond, um, it has the essence of being m- it has the essence of being more um, well, I'm not sure exactly what to say, and I find myself at a loss for words for once. Um,
Mm.
but response is more interactive, and it's more thoughtful, and it has the feeling around it of being responsive rather than reactive. And reactions are quick. I think of it quick and hard, and the responses are a softer response. So that's the best I can do on those two words. But we've got some words here today, don't we?
We do. Let's play our game of what's the word. If you all are ready, if you joined us last week, you know that we've instituted a new game here at Ring Ready Live, and the game is called What's the Word? And we are going to read you uh, a definition. I guess we're going to read you an answer, really, and then you are going to have to guess the term that we are describing. So it's a pretty simple game, but we learned last week that some of the descriptions of these terms can get pretty tricky. So without further ado, we're going to start with the following: two or more solid colors, well broken colors, one of which must be white. So that is two or more solid, well broken colors, one of which must be white. So in the comments, you can feel free to share your answer with us. There you go. Susan,
Oh, that was fast.
she came right through. Party color
Right.
is the word that we're looking for. Party color is two or more solid, well broken colors, one of which must be white. Lisa guessed that as well. And party color is, as we all likely know, a variety of the Cocker Spaniel. So that is a variety of that breed that is party color, but it is not the only breed that you will see that can be party color. We have another word for you today, and the definition is loose, pendulous skin, usually arranged in folds on the chin, throat, and neck regions. That is loose, pendulous skin, usually arranged in folds on the chin, throat, and neck regions. So if you think
Da,
you know,
da, 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 da.
Susan
Da,
says that
da,
she's
da,
shown
da, da, da.
cockers for 20 years.
Yes, Lynn, got it. Woohoo!
A dewlap.
Dewlap. Thank you.
So a
That's that
dewlap,
old Rottweiler person coming through.
aha. Some of these definitions are very familiar to exhibitors of certain breeds. They're familiar to people of different animals as well. Dewlaps are also found on a number of other breeds, cattle, rabbits, and a few others. But a dewlap is a loose pendulous skin, usually arranged in folds on the chin, throat, and neck regions. Um,
And if you want more definitions, you can get this tome, Encyclopedia of Canine Terminology, illustrated by Dan Sayers, our own, and of course, written by Edward Gilbert and Patricia Gilbert.
Yes, I forget how many pages that book is, Lee, but I know it's well up into the hundreds. There was even talk at one time by the publisher of producing a split volume, a two
Mhm.
volume set, but it is one large volume that is easy to find because of its size, and it really is one that I know you and I refer to all the time, Lee.
Mhm.
And if you're an exhibitor who has a copy of that volume or any good canine terminology volume, it's one that you know they never get boring because there's so much information in there that is both breed specific, useful to breeders, and informative to exhibitors and owner handlers. There's a glossary that just covers virtually everything that you might think you'll ever want to know about showing and breeding purebred dogs. So,
Absolutely.
if any of you have a story that you'd like to share with us about um, pulling an entry, either that's happened to you or you've had to do as I had to do years ago, or I should say chose to do, um, let us know. Lee, you've really got me thinking again about the responsibility that we have to showing our dogs. I want to encourage everyone to read your upcoming article in Ring Ready within Show Site Magazine, where you talk about showing up 100%. And your topic is not specific to whether an entry is pooled or not. It is, it's so beautifully written where you give two examples of two exhibitors who, are doing their best and doing the work. And your article basically discusses um, whether whether an owner handler is exhibiting on par with a professional handler. And once again, you emphasize that it is the quality handled dog
Right.
that matters most. And you must show up each day and every time 100% ready to be there for your dog. And if you do that, you are going to, whether the major is broken or not, whether an entry gets pulled or not, you're going to show up and be ready to do the job that you're there to do for your dog and for your partnership with your dog. I love that article, Lee, and I just thought I'd mention that again. I just want to encourage everyone when the January issue is out later this week, be sure to go to Ring Ready, go to Lee's article. You will be inspired to become your best and to show up each and every time, bringing 100% to your game.
Well, and that's really I mean, that's really a huge part of what I do for my Dog Show Mentor members is I inspire them. Um, that's what they tell me. And it's so important that we inspire each other, whether you've got a friend, whether you've got a mentor like myself, your breed mentor. Who are you inspiring? Who
Well,
have you inspired today? Who will you inspire at the next shows to be better, to keep coming, right? Somebody posted in here about um, keeping continuing to come back to shows, and that's what our sport is about inspiring each other to continue coming back for more and more fun, more and more knowledge, and more excitement.
Well, Lee, you always inspire just by showing up, just by your words, and just by being the dog show mentor for all of us who are savvy enough to know that we need a coach, that we need a mentor in this game. And I know that all of you who are watching are savvy exhibitors because you show up here every Wednesday. You're here with us. You inspire us and we hope that we are inspiring you each and every week. We love hearing from you. We love being part of your journey. Rageshwar was in Palm Springs as you were,
Oh.
and is telling us that although there were nerves, they knew they were never going to win. Which I have a dog show mentor who can help you with that mindset because
I wish I had known you were there, Rageshwar.
you can indeed win. But the great thing is that you were able to keep very positive, and that was your job for your dog. And that is true. Nerves be damned. just be there and be the dog that be the person that your dog thinks you are. Isn't that how the
Yeah,
goes?
someone said that.
Well, be the exhibitor that your dog knows you can be. Your dog is
Mm,
waiting for you and ready, and together you can exceed your own expectations. You can wow every judge that you bring your dog to, and we know that if you stick here with us throughout the year, that you're going to be part of a community that is going to be supportive of your endeavors and really wants to see you succeed. Whether we pull an entry on you or not, we're always going to be in your corner and we want the best for you and your dog. We're all in this sport together, even as costs rise and we get sticker shock. We can also learn to focus on strategizing and making our experience a bit more focused, learning how to pivot as we talked about last week,
yeah.
and just showing up 100% as we've been saying. This is this is a sport that we all love, and we all want to be 100% at our best each and every time.
And if I might add here, Dan, just briefly, I do have a spot for one more person in mastery, and it's not too late. We've only had the first webinar, so if you are seriously considering it, contact me today so that I can see if that's a good fit for you, and you can see if it's a good fit for you and your dog as well.
Thank you for that, Lee. And if you've been on the fence and you were thinking about mastery, maybe it's something that you can manage the time for this year, but you weren't quite sure you needed a push, please reach out to Lee. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that you will not be disappointed. And you will find that you and your dog will be, you know, just doing things that you'd maybe never even dreamed possible. But Lee Whittier has a way of helping us all to realize that we can do the work, we can show up, we can be 100%, we can realize our dreams. We just have to take that first step and invest in the journey with our dogs. And she's giving you, one of you, that invitation again here today. So Lee, thank you for being the Dog Show mentor, for sharing every Wednesday afternoon with me. I want to remind everyone that Megan is your customer relations manager here at Showsite and Ring Ready. So please reach out to Megan, Meegan, at showsitemagazine.com. She'll be happy to hear from you and help you to celebrate your dog and your partnership and your 100% commitment to being an owner handler in this sport. And I'd like to thank Alex, our producer, who has been managing a great deal and is always behind the scenes making Lee and I look and sound our best. So thank you to Alex. And until we get together again next week, remember, this is all about you and your dog. So remember to have fun with your dogs.
And make sure your dog has fun with you.
Uh,
See you in the winner's circle.
Bye, everyone.